coming in. Exciting win for us, but it's important for us to move forward. I believe the only thing more dangerous than a team that doesn't think that they can win is a team that doesn't think that they can lose. I think we need to make sure we stay grounded and keep working, improving as a football team. Teams typically improve the most between their first and second game. It's going to be important that we do that. And so we're excited about playing this week. So questions?
Coach, I know you usually prescribe for 24-hour wins and losses. Did you allow your guys a little extra time?
No. We had them in on Saturday. They were watching tape, and as coaches, we've been working hard, taking advantage of the extra day that we had because we'll need it. Ferris State presents some challenges offensively, multi-schemes, all kinds of different things, running and throwing, and on defense, a lot of unknowns, new defensive coordinator and a lot of transfers and things like that. So composing a game plan, that and the kicking game is a challenge. So we took 24 hours with our players, but our coaches didn't. I can tell you that.
Jordan Champion, he looked a little hobbled. Is he good to go this week?
I would say doubtful. Yeah, it's probably doubtful 2 to 4 weeks, something like that. It's got an MCL strain.
What's wrong?
An MCL strain. Yep.
The only injury?
Yeah. Joe Haig's a little nicked up. We'll see, but I think he's okay. But Jordan's definitely going to be out.
Going into the game, it sounded like one of the big concerns was K-State's offensive line. Their D-line did a good job of taking up blockers and let everyone else do the job. What can you say just about the job they've done as a unit?
Well, I thought we were really concerned about Kansas State being able to establish a running game, and they threw the ball pretty effectively, but we were able to neutralize their run, and that had a big impact, made them one-dimensional. I think it plays to the strength, and we felt like our defensive front would be very strong, and the encouraging thing is we did that without Levon Perry, and Levon will be back this week. So we need to leverage that. We're good up front, and typically if you can control the line of scrimmage on defense, that set things up in a positive manner.
Is Levon
Totally healthy, ready to go, all guns go?
Yep. Yeah, he would have been healthy, guns go for Kansas State game, but he'd been suspended.
Craig, do you think the FCS helped itself or hurt itself this weekend in getting future big games with how much success they had?
I believe helped, and I've had a lot of questions, national media, and it's kind of a topic of discussion, a common theme, and the AFCA Board of Trustees, we voted unanimously, and Mac Brown has really been a great ambassador for college football and talked to a lot of different people on behalf of FCS schools. And I think this last weekend was a good indicator that we need to be more inclusive instead of exclusive. And so, it was good. I think we made some good points this weekend.
What about Ferris State coaches looking at a tape? Just general thoughts?
A pretty talented football team, and I know their head football coach, and we recruited their school a couple of years ago. He's got a background not only in high school football but in junior college football. So they've got some new players coming in. Good athleticism. They had a winning record last year. It's a good league, and we need to be prepared to go out and play well. And we've watched a lot of tape on them and all that.
Coach, I'm sure you're pleased. Were you surprised at all how well your team played as far as penalties, mistakes, mental mistakes? I mean, it just seemed like everything clicked.
No, I wasn't surprised. We've got a veteran football team, and although going back and looking at the tape, we left some points out there on the field. But as far as first games, I thought our guys, we really didn't. There was no foolish penalties. We had one jump. We had the one turnover where Brock threw the ball and sailed on him a little bit. But no, that's been our strength. One of our strengths, play disciplined football. And we were going to need to do that to win the game, and we did.
Do you think Brock gets
Enough credit? I mean, this team is so talent-laden.
Mm-hmm.
Does he get enough credit, do you think, that he's the he's the straw that stirs it?
I know this is, I was on a ton of national shows. Every one of them talked about Brock Jensen, every one of them. So I don't know how it is locally, but I know his name's being thrown around all around the country by everybody. So I think he's getting a lot of recognition.
Where does that final drive rank in your coaching career as one of the better drives you've seen as a football coach?
That was the best. If you just look at the whole scenario, you got one drive left, you're in Manhattan, you got to go 80 yards, stay on the field, convert, go 7 for 7, and run the clock. It was going to be like a NASCAR race car. We had to cross the finish line with no gas in our tank. I don't know. It was interesting. Coach Osborne called me up the next day, and he understood how. He goes, Craig, that's a really hard place to play. And I go, yeah, I know. It's a good thing our players didn't know it was so hard. So, but yeah, for me, Mike, that was and we've had great drives. I mean, the Georgia Southern one. You know, there was a lot of similarities during the course of that. Everybody said, Coach, are you nervous during I wasn't nervous at all. That didn't mean that we were for sure going to win the game. You just knew that this is what you had set it up for. And there were so many things that were so reminiscent of the Georgia Southern game, even to the last play to where he's running the football. It was a different type of play, but no, it was neat. It was neat to see it all unfold.
The offensive line, I thought, just had, I mean, Billy, I think, in one play took on 2 guys.
Yeah.
And Gimmister blew out the DN on the, describe the play of the old line on that.
I thought we had a great offensive line play, and for us to be able to run the football, and Brock had time, but to control the line of scrimmage was really a key point for us to be able to run the football. And we've got an experienced offensive line. All those guys are back. We had one new guy in there, and he played fairly well. He can play better. Zach can play better, but those other guys showed up. When the lights were on a big stage, they answered the bell.
Because of what your team just did this previous weekend, is it easier to tell them, don't let up anything to happen with an upset this coming Saturday?
Well, you got a pretty seasoned team, and pretty mature. Not pretty. We have a very seasoned team and a very mature football team, and I think we've got good, solid character, and that's not a safeguard 100% for letdowns, but I think our guys recognize what opportunities out there, and they have not been a group that's been up and down. They've been pretty businesslike the whole time, and so we're going to have a pretty spirited practice today, and I'd be surprised and disappointed if we didn't get some good work done out there.
Coach, in a game like that, a drive like that, your coaching staff has to click too.
Oh.
Communication, you must have been obviously happy with that too.
Yeah, the guy calling the plays, Brent Vigen's been doing it a while, and Brent Vigen also orchestrated the drive many years ago when we beat Cal Davis out there, And so his background and understanding and our offensive coaching staff, that just didn't happen by chance. There was a lot of things that went into that drive, and so we're really well pleased with it. It was a thing. I know this. Tim Brando was on his show today, and he tweeted out. He said, if North Dakota State if you're a college football fan and North Dakota State gets the ball one more time, you need to tune in because you're going to see something special. And so he sounds like he was a prophet. He knew what the heck he was talking about.
Is this the most attention you've gotten nationally as a coach in terms of phone calls, interviews, and things like that?
Since I've been here.
Right from North Dakota.
Yes, since I've been here. Yeah, it was everything from national ESPN to, it's New York Times to, a lot of exposure.
What does that do?
I think it's great for our school. And I'll go ahead and continue. We've already seen some spin-off in recruiting. I can tell you that. I think it's just perception becomes reality, and that was a big win. That was a signature win for our program. And to say that, does that redefine us? I know it has around. I can't tell you the texts that I got, Mac Brown to who knows whatever. They all know what that meant for our program, and so I think a lot of people are viewing us differently.
So you took the bait on my drive question. So I'll ask that, is this the biggest win you had at NDSU with 2 national championships? And I know that Gene talks a lot about the Montana game being the
Yeah.
biggest win. Is this the biggest win?
Yeah, for me personally, just because of the opponent and the type of program that it was. That's really, really hard to do. And the game didn't come out, and I know I'm on a slippery slope saying that. I get that, but I'm fine doing that. I went back, watched the tape over and over again. It wasn't like the opponent fumbled the ball 5 times, and they did a bunch of dumb things. They played hard. They played well. We beat them. And the other thing is just knowing the number of years of what Kansas State's done and the type of head coach that Coach Snyder is. I mean, he's going to go into the Hall of Fame the very first ballot, and their program. So for us to come in and collectively do that, I think it's a special, special thing.
Coach, you see any parallels with App State starting their 3-peat with a win over Michigan? You guys starting possibly one with the win at Kansas State?
Well, I've had some texts back and forth with Coach Moore. He was fired up and excited for us, and right away he said as soon as they beat Michigan, Urban Meyer told him, forget it. And with the exception of you guys asking me questions, we need to live in the present, move on. And so our goal is to win the next game. And, non-conference schedules do come into play. They're not near as important as conference schedules, but this is an important ball game.
What would be the biggest key? Will it just getting an early start, getting the crowd into it? And set
This
the tone?
game?
Yeah.
Well, I think to make sure that we execute, it's going to be really important. The things that were brought up earlier, playing a clean game, ball control, don't turn it over. Those have been tried and true pillars of what we've done to be successful. We need to do that.
So, Peralta's, your national exposure isn't quite at the level of Tim Miles after Wisconsin. You a little jealous of Tim Miles right now?
I'm not going to blow Tim's candle out to make mine shine brighter. No, that's quite all right. I know I'm not as effervescent as Tim, but he's been on the phone back and forth too. He was excited.
Describe what Billy Turner's done for the program.
He played significant time when we really needed somebody, and the thing that Billy has done is he's come back his senior year. He's playing his best football. And so any thoughts of senioritis when you have one of your top players as far as his gains in the weight room, his demeanor, his attitude at practice, he's been selected a captain. It's really set a tone. And he's a really gifted athlete. He's got the strongest arm. If we ever threw I joked we were going to do a tackle around pass. I don't know if you can do that. Probably can't do it, but he can throw the ball further than Brock. He's got great feet, and he's really a smart player.
He said he's the only player in his family that hasn't scored a touchdown. He'd like to do that this year.
Well, we're going to come up with a new play at some time. Yeah.
Coach, is this a game where you can find out how deep you are, possibly quarterback, secondary, linebacker this week?
This is a game we need to win. It's a game we need to win.
Are you going to handle I know last year you didn't bring the team out for the banner raising and all the pregame stuff for the open. Are you going to keep everybody in the locker room and just?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's about the game. We got to stay focused at the game.
For the conference, Northern Iowa also won against a Big 12 school. Youngstown started off well. For the whole league to get off to a good start, how does that?
Well, I think, as you guys know, it's an indication of the quality of play in our league, and that's going to be a grind. I know it's a couple weeks off, but we all have that in the back of our minds, that the real challenges that are going to be we're going to be confronted with by playing those schools.
You said the biggest improvements between week 1 and week 2. Where do you guys go?
Well, we had a couple pass coverage busts, that resulted in big plays. Those things have got to get straightened around. I think we lost containment on the quarterback a couple times. That's got to improve. Offensively, there was a couple intricacies that we have on some of our running plays that we've got to pick up. We had, an error early in the game. We had a breakdown in protection. We were moving the football, and so there's some things. Our players by no means are complacent. When they look at the tape, they said, "Hey, we can get better here."
Coach, you said that special teams played a large role in the win on Friday night. Talk about Ben LeCompte.
Well, there could be a strong case made that he was a player of the game. We went in saying we've got to. They had 2 returners who were, preseason all Big 12 returners, and we got to neutralize those guys. And it's difficult to do what Ben did. I mean, those sky kicks are not easy, and to keep them in bounds and to place them, it's a real finesse thing. And he did that to perfection, and it was a cat and mouse game. And then when we needed a boom one at the end, all those guys were up, kicked it over their head. He punted, I think, 3 times inside the 20. I thought he was just great. And that our special teams there's a couple minor things that we can improve, but I thought of all the things that we did in the game and throughout the last drive, I think the special teams really set a lot of things up.
Who officially got their red shirts off?
Pierre Tucker did, and DeLuca did too.
Okay, what about Morlock? He traveled, right?
He traveled. We did not play him, and we're going to take a hard look this week as far as potentially playing him.
Coach, you read Ferris State runs the veer. Is it a straight 2 running back option?
There's veer option in it, but they do a lot of things. Power sweeps. They have a really diverse offense, and so, yeah, when they're talking about the veer, I don't know if that was Coach when he was at Grand Rapids there, or when he was at Muskegon High School, but there's veer. I mean, there's a fullback and mesh and reading and everything else. So you see elements of that, but it's not the North Dakota State split back veer.
Any other true freshmen getting a look?
And not right now.
Coach, this game will have more relevance since now Division II wins count for the postseason, unlike the past years.
Yeah, I was scared when we were having a difficult time scheduling, because you look and say if it doesn't count, now you just, we've got a pretty extensive experience with playoffs, and you start to look at how those things are staged, and you get a group of people in on this committee, and they just start looking, and basically it was that one doesn't count, how many wins you have, and they just look at numbers, and now it'll count. I can't quite understand the formula. I think it's easier to break into Gate City Bank than that formula, but there's a formula there, and it does count. And so how much it counts, I don't know, but we're pleased that it counts.